Right now, we have gone from Bryce Young being the number 1 overall pick and the guy that you thought had the biggest upside. We were worried about his size. That was that was kind of where the conversation went. To now looking at this going, C.J. Stroud may run away with the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. I mean, this guy's not throwing interceptions. He's putting up huge numbers against one of the worst offensive lines where the backups to the backups to the backups are out there playing. He's getting better every single week. The coaches are praising him for taking what he's seeing in film to the practice field, to the game, week after week after week. His ceiling has gotten exponentially higher right now, and there were questions about whether he was going to be anything more than, let's say, an average quarterback. And I get it, it's a rookie year and there's a long way to go, but right now, when you're looking at that, it sucks that the price is at plus 175. There's not a lot of value with it now, but let's be honest with ourselves. This keeps up, it's C.J. Stroud winning this award.
This is a team that should be 0-4. They are lucky to be 2-2. In terms of their offense, it has just been an absolute mess. They are not pushing the ball down the field. Kenny Pickett is now dinged. I'm trying to find what they are in terms of overall offensive DVOA. I believe they're all the way pretty much close to the bottom.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's 30th. They're 30th in overall DVOA. They're 31st in rush DVOA, which is exactly what you would not expect for them. And they're 26th in pass DVOA. They're 31st in rush DVOA.
And then on the offensive side of the ball, you've been healthy for the last 3 years. And that's why it's so easy to say, like with these teams, oh, it sucks that the Bills lost. It sucks that the Bengals lost. But they have Burrow. They have Allen. They're so young. They'll be back next year. You never know because every year is different in the NFL. You'll never have the same roster the next season. And even like small little things do matter. If it's a left tackle or right tackle, that's a big deal. But like special teams players. But with the Bengals, the offense only having right now 49 points, that doesn't make any sense. Injuries, because you spent so much money on the offensive line. They've done things the smart way. I don't think Zach Taylor is very good. I think Burrow's injury is a lot worse than we know about.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're a little bit of a mess. Like Lou Anarumo, their defensive coordinator, is really damn good at his job. And so they kind of like fooled us for a couple weeks. Yeah. But now, I mean, he can't even work with the talent that he's given. So no patience for the Bengals. Kind of out on them.
Oh, CLV, baby.
If you plus EV getting CLV, you can come and see me on BetMGM. We got everything. Props, parlays. We got teasers, and we are here every night until 11 p.m. While everyone's in bed. We are in your head. Yeah. We're betting all the numbers. CLV, you got a 3.5. We got 4.
It was better with the beat.
We knocking on your mama's door, on your daddy's door.
It's a pretty good freestyle, I'm not going to lie.
It was getting there.
Yeah.
It had its ups and it had its downs, you know?
We're looking for key numbers. Got the 14.5. Your weak ass bet 13.5. You don't got the CLV. Fast. You shouldn't even bet. We're going to be on Gambling Twitter. # Gambling Twitter.
You know, it's interesting looking at some of the line movement for odds to make the playoffs just from last week to this week. The biggest jump. The Texans went from plus 500 to make the playoffs to plus 220.
That Steelers win was the one that got them, huh?
It really was.
I like them a lot. I'm not going to bet them to make the playoffs, though. Like in the NFC, I understand why I understand why the Bucks. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I wish I would have got the 5-1 if I wanted to do it. I want to do it at plus 220 because I eventually think talent takes over and the Jags get it figured out, right? But in the NFC, the Bucks are really interesting to me because Baker, guys, is not just like serviceable or managing games. Mm-hmm. Baker's good.
They went from plus 150 to minus 125.
Those viral clips have me buying in again. He's lowering the shoulder, running guys over, saying, get your weight up.
He's got to stop doing that. That's what got him hurt last time,
true.
Though.
He's at local dive bars with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I told you guys that week 1, Mike Evans had a smile on his face and walked up and chest bumped Baker. And I said, I know he asked for a trade a couple weeks ago. I think he's buying into the Bake Man. And I want to know. I want everybody to know. I'm not Joe over here. I want everybody to know. And Nick, you could actually you could join me.
All right.
We never gave up on you, Baker.
That is true.
Many gave up on you.
Well, I gave up on him in Cleveland. Let's make sure that I'm clear with that because I pissed off everybody in Cleveland.
Trista ripped me all last year. I had to take the Baker flack.
No, I mean that was the first thing we ever discussed.
If they go to Taylor Heineke, I'm going to actually say patience there. He's a guy that can move that ball up the field, and he's going to have really, I mean, as good, better weapons than he had in Washington. And that offense was great until they got to the red zone, and then they'd settle for field goals. But if Arthur Smith wants to continue to go to Desmond Ridder week after week after week for the Falcons, then it's absolute panic because you're not getting the ball to your weapons. You're not getting guys involved like you need to. At the beginning, it was, Desmond Ridder isn't turning the ball over. Oh, my God, back-to-back interceptions on back-to-back plays. So it all comes down to quarterback in the NFL. We know that. And Desmond Ridder right now has been the problem, not the solution in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, you look at the Atlanta Falcons, and what did you want them to be? You wanted them to be a run-first offense. Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier had one good game, kind of has been spotty since. Bijan Robinson has been up and down. He's awesome, but clearly something's up because things are really going wrong when you've got to have Desmond Ridder drop back 31 times in a game, 38 times in a game against Detroit, right? Like the game against Carolina is kind of what you want to see from Desmond Ridder. 15 completions, 18 attempts, and just run down the damn throat of your opponent. But if they have to go with Desmond Ridder being the focal point of the offense, I mean, yeah, they're going to have some real problems.
Oh, yeah. Like if he has to go and win a game on the road.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Maybe he's just the anti-Daniel Jones, where Daniel Jones can play on the road, but he can't play at home in New York. Like the home-road splits are really disgusting. Maybe Ridder's just the opposite. He's good at home, and he wins at home. Problem is, for me to get the 9 wins, I'm going to need him to win a couple road games. Now, he did win.
Just one would be a nice start.
Yeah, like
he's winless on the road.
It's not all him though. Like Arthur Smith hasn't been very good either.
Yeah,
like you can't put all the blame on Ridder. And
but
if he is that bad, then he has
to
pull the plug. He's the head coach. He's not just the play caller. I just wanted to wait and talk about which team I want to fade moving forward, and we get the perfect opportunity finally this weekend. It's the old Maryland Classic where they start. Now they actually haven't been 5-0 for a long, long time. But we always see this. They get off to a nice little start. It's usually like a Thursday or Friday night primetime spot. Penn State comes to town, or they go to Penn State, and it's the whiteout game. I believe in the offense, and they just get steamrolled. And we usually take the points with Maryland. Not this time. I don't believe in Josh Gaddis, the play caller. Maryland, they haven't really played anybody yet. And Ohio State's starting to figure some things out offensively. Kyle McCord was so good in the second half against Notre Dame. I know he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass at home yet, but I think Ohio State's going to be able to run the ball on Maryland here. They have 3 really good backs. Obviously, Henderson's the best. And I think that's going to open up some play action. Not that you need to run the ball to open up play action, but I think for like Ryan Day's peanut brain, you do a little bit. And I worry about Maryland's red zone defense. So I bet it at 19.5. I'd bet it all the way up to 21. I like Ohio State. Maryland's a fun story. I hope they win 8 games because I did go over the win total. But when they step up in class against real opponents, Ohio State, Penn State, they usually get clobbered. And I think that's the case here, especially on the road. I feel like I just have like a nice face or something.
You're always smiling,
and,
and
people
friendly.
always want to talk to me in the sauna. Like, now I'm not talking about my buddies. I haven't seen them in a while. I'm a little worried about them.
It's because you're doing a full-on split.
No, I don't. I'm not doing the calisthenics when people come into the sauna.
Hey guys, hold on, just stretching out my hamstrings real quick.
We call this the crouching
PJ,
tiger.
have you heard this story? Mm-mm. So Ryan stretches in the sauna naked.
I do not. No, PJ, I'm not naked. Okay,
there are rumors that you stretch naked.
I
in
have
the sauna.
Shorts on. Sometimes I even have a sweatshirt if I like really want to sweat, or I do like the sauna suit.
Jamar Chase is already starting to chirp about always being open, and that's his guy. Joe Burrow is his guy. There's dissension in the locker room. This defense is really bad without Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
We had Ben Brown on who broke it down, really gave an awesome explanation about why the Bengals defensively may have been that bad last year, but just because they were always ahead, because their offense was potent, and because Jesse Bates was there, it covered up a lot of the things that they really didn't do well. And listen, I know Cheeto Awuzie from his time in the Cowboys organization. He's not good. This is not a good team. In fact, like, they have more Giants vibes than appears at even first glance.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just the Joe Burrow injury at this point,
No.
right? Because also Zach Taylor I don't think is very good, and I've always said this about Zach Taylor. The reason he was good last year was because it was no longer the Zach Taylor offense, just like Matt Canada, really predictable. Instead, it became the Joe Burrow LSU offense, and it was awesome because it's Boyd and it's Chase and it's Higgins, 3 of the better wide receivers in the league, all on the same team. But the problem is this year, Joe Burrow's hurt. He's not able to push the ball down the field the same way. And now T. Higgins is going to try to play with a broken rib. And this is what a lot of people kind of predicted if the Bengals don't win 11, 12 games, how does it happen? Well, it's because they lost a bunch on defense, especially in the secondary, and they didn't replace them with anybody capable. The run game is what's been carrying Notre Dame. Audric Estime is the best running back in all of college football. The offensive line is pretty damn good. I just feel like you had to get up a couple weeks ago for Ohio State. You lose that game in heartbreaking fashion. Your season's on the line last week, and they could have lost to Duke. They should have lost to Duke.
They should have lost to Duke.
Sam Hartman had to throw the team on his back on, 4th and 18, and they barely get past
Using
Duke.
his little wheels.
So now you got to get up for another game with USC on tap. They should win this game. I think that Louisville is going to keep this game close. And the other thing is Louisville has the advantage, the rest advantage, because they have, 10, 11 days to prepare? They played the weekday, the Thursday night game, and you have Jeff Brom. So I think they're going to have some creative play calls, some trick plays up their sleeve against Notre Dame.